I just kind of want to introduce who I am. My name is Justin Joseph. I'm a researcher here at Emory University. I work under Dr. Krishnan, who is a co-leader here with Roger. And we love working with the Young and Restless support group because very much this group impacts how we do research here at Emory and is really kind of the cornerstone. I was actually speaking about the Young and Restless in a local conference here in Georgia, and the many researchers loved how we work with our community and engage with it. And that's kind of where the future of research goes here at Emory, and we're really excited to be a partner in that, specifically investigating and helping alleviate young stroke and stroke in all individuals. And we're really excited for that. So without further ado, I'm pleased and honored to introduce our guest speaker. Today we have Ms. Bridget Harper, is a licensed and nationally board certified music therapist at Perfect Harmony Health, formerly known as the Georgia Center. She received her bachelor's degree in music therapy from Florida State University. Bridget became a certified neurologic music therapist in 2018 and attended additional training in June 2020 to stay up to date with the most recent research and best practices. Excuse me. She plans to complete her neurologic music therapy fellowship this fall and further advances her clinical expertise in the field. Bridget has clinical experience working with neurorehabilitation and neurodegenerative populations, developmental disabilities, and neurodivergent diagnosis. We're pleased and privileged and honored to have Ms. Bridget Harper here with us and have a really, really awesome presentation that I can't wait to share with all of you. Without further ado, Bridget.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I'm really excited just to be here to talk to you about neurologic music therapy and kind of go over the why of neurologic music therapy. So real quick, let me just get my screen pulled up. Okay. I want to make sure I can kind of see people still too. Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah, like my introducer mentioned, I am a neurologic music therapist at Perfect Harmony Health. We were formerly the George Center, which has been around in the Metro Atlanta area for the past 10 years. But the last couple of months, we've been kind of doing a rebrand. So just working more towards working more in our communities and really reaching out and making sure that everyone has access to what we were providing. I want to start first. Does anyone here know how to play an instrument? You could just raise your hand. Not necessary, but I'm just curious. Okay, has anybody been in a choir before? Yeah, okay. Does anyone enjoy listening to music? Yeah, so we all pretty much, no matter whether you've played an instrument, sung in a choir, we all know the positive benefits of music as a stimulus and how it makes us feel to produce and perceive music. But I'm just here to explain to you today how music can be a therapeutic tool in rehabilitation. I was just in the short rehab and recovery. So first, something we all kind of know is that disability doesn't discriminate. When it comes to neurologic injuries and diseases, the types and variations are just as diverse as the people experiencing them. The CDC reports that 1/4 of all American adults have a physical, intellectual, or sensory disability, and that is 61 million of us. So it's either all of us are impacted or will be soon enough. Real quick. So and at Perfect Harmony Health, we really understand, we see the diversity in our clients as we treat clients that are on the autism spectrum or have cerebral palsy or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or have had a TBI. So with neurologic music therapy, we're looking beyond the diagnosis and instead at functionality. Anyone with the aforementioned diagnoses can be working towards attention deficits or working on their gait or working on, stringing sentences together. So it's really looking at functionality rather than what's kind of been like the current or like what we just passed, the model of treatment. So Perfect Harmony Health, we're building foundations for individuals to really thrive with their diagnosis. Not worrying about setting these high expectations and meeting them and failing, but rather meeting them where they are and helping them thrive. So in building those foundations requires us to treat the whole person in harmony. So there's 3 things that we do to do this. We connect the brain by rewiring neural pathways. We compose the mind by building emotional structure, and we synchronize the body by cueing rhythmic movement. So the good news is that there's groundbreaking science that does this and more, and it's the neuroscience of music. It's not a new idea that music can change our health. Music therapy is an evidence-based approach that's been around for decades, and in some parts of the world, centuries. What's new is the way that we can see into the brain and how it works, and it's unlocked this whole new realm of possibility. So this creates opportunities for perfect harmony between the individual, their internal and external world, and of their families and communities. So let's talk more about how music works in a healthcare setting. So neurologic music therapy, started out really as a social science about in the 50s, and it was really geared toward veterans and mainly working kind of in the mental health arena and working as a social science. Even as we moved into working with autism and even rehabilitation, it was more of a social science, more of do this because it makes you feel good. And different models of music therapy were based off of other existing therapies, such as like at FSU, a lot of the music therapy that we were taught is really rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy. But then there are other schools that really focus on like a psychodynamic approach. But now neurologic music therapy has kind of taken our profession to a whole other level that allows it to stand on its own. And it's kind of really separate from the traditional music therapy, as we say. So neurologic music therapy, simple definition, just on the screen. It's a therapeutic application of the elements of music to cognitive, affective, sensory, language, and motor dysfunctions due to neurologic disease of the human nervous system. And neurologic music therapists really have an understanding of the perception, the production, and the performance of music, and how music can influence and change non-musical brain and behavior function. So that's the key word, is non-musical. We're working towards things that stand on its own outside of the music therapy sessions. So one piece of treating the whole person in harmony is to connect the brain by rewiring neural pathways. With Perfect Harmony Health, we use neurologic music therapy techniques to work around areas of the brain that may be disconnected. So a common challenge that we face is when our intentions don't meet our actions. That's because structural differences in the brain can lock you into behaviors that you can't control. Such as not being able to, bring out the words that we are thinking, that we can think, but we cannot, our intentions don't match the actions. So one way this plays out for some clients is blocked speech, aphasia. A brain injury or stroke can prevent you from saying words you used to know. But with neurologic music therapies, we are paving new routes past the damage, because music is processed all over the brain in parallel symptoms, and we can make a new part of the brain responsible for speech, and that's where we get that neuroplasticity. We can change things by repetition and practice. So that means we can relearn how to talk, even if part of your brain is permanently damaged. And one technique that makes this possible is musical speech stimulation. So it helps transition speech skills from non-propositional, spontaneous speech to functional phrases. So with this technique, we use either completion or initiation of overlearned familiar song lyrics, or association of words with familiar tunes, or musical phrases to elicit functional speech responses. So really, it's just like it sounds, musical speech stimulation. It's just kind of practicing these overlearned things that you don't remember that you know. So I kind of wanted to try a few examples with you all today. You're all muted, so feel free to participate. You don't have to sing, you can just fill in the blank. I'm gonna sing a phrase and I want y'all to just fill in the blank, whatever comes next. All right, so the first one is, you are my sunshine, right? What about, we will, that's right. We will, yeah. Take me out to the, these are all that we know. And then we can even kind of turn these, we start there, right? Just trying to get some spontaneous speech, stimulate the speech centers by using this memory music that we have. Another way that we can put it into practice is by putting it into functional phrases. So something I did with one of my clients today, she has cerebral palsy and apraxia. So we're working on initiating sentences and completing, using full sentences to make a request. So I think she did, what was it? I want to sing. And she had to fill in the sentence. The melody line is left unfinished. I want to sing. And then she has to tell me the name of the song that she wants to sing. I could also do, another one would be like, how are you today would be the next one. Or it could be, how are you doing? Whichever one you are working towards and want to be able to say. Another one, let's see, if I were to ask you, let's say you have not eaten in 6 hours and you need to tell someone that you need some food. We would learn that I am hungry, put to a melody using musical speech stimulation. And we'll do another example of that one later. Basically, the next step after that spontaneous speech has been initiated is to work towards functional everyday phrases. Here we are. I told you we'd get there. So the next technique to graduate to is melodic intonation therapy. And this one's super interesting to me because melodic intonation therapy is actually originally a speech therapy technique. Speech therapists did not feel comfortable singing. I can't speak for all speech therapists. I also was not around when this first happened, but so speech therapists also understand, the effect that singing has on getting our speech back. So we're going from singing to speech. So the therapist starts by helping you tap a beat and hum a simple tune. So for this one, it would be, let's see, I gotta move my people over to the other side. I need to go to the bathroom. So we would hum first. We would go, and then the key is to make the melody mirror the rise and fall of the phrase that you're learning in natural speech.
Is that a real song?
It's not a song. It's just a melody created. That's
oh.
Yeah, we don't have to use like a song. We can just yeah. We're the stimulus specialists, so we just make up whatever mirrors the speech the best. That would be a bop though. I need to go to the bathroom. So the key is to make the melody mirror the phrase that you're trying to say. And once you can sing the words, you can slowly phase out the melody and the tapping until you can speak on your own. It's definitely a process, but over time we were able to see those changes. We did it in the neurologic music therapy training, like with a partner, and it was really, we were just singing, I need to go to the bathroom, back and forth to each other, but it's the repetition of it and just fading out of those cues, we're rewiring those neural pathways. So now that we have another common speech and language problem that we face is prosody and inflection. We can use vocal intonation therapy to use melody and dynamics of music to improve qualities of the voice, such as pitch, melody, and volume, dynamics. So everything in music, all these elements of music mirror what we're doing in speech. So I want to share with you one of my clients that I'm currently seeing had a tumor resection last June, and he was referred to Neurological Music Therapy Services to work on prosody and inflection. In his initial intake, he was like, I don't sing, I don't know how this is going to go, I just want to try it. And I was like, that's totally cool. You don't sing, you don't know how it's going to go, we're just going to try it. So during his initial assessment, I had him say 10 different functional phrases. These were varying in questions or sentence. They were varying in sentence structure. I had him come up with those sentences with his speech therapist. And then when he was here, had him say each sentence into a voice analyst app to determine his baseline pitch and volume ranges. So we chose 2 phrases at first, work on 2 at a time. We chose 2 phrases to practice in our NMT sessions and in his home program. And one of these phrases was, how's it going? Oh, okay, I see. Sorry, my screen keeps covering up things. So this is a visual graph of his pitch range. So this is measured in hertz. And that's just how pitch is measured. So here we see about 115 to about 135. So we have a pitch range of about 20 hertz. And this is how he sounded on his first time music therapy.
How's it going?
So very, how's it going? Very monotone. So I was like, great, let's take that. It's a question. How's it going? We're going to make the melody, reflect that of a question, which ends going up. So we put this to a simple melody starting out with, because we were so how's it going, started out with very, very small intervals. It sounds pretty robotic, but we were practicing how's it going. I'll have everybody try that with me. We're gonna do it 3 times. 1, 2, here we go. How's it going? 1, 2, here we go. How's it going? 1 more time. Here we go. How's it going? So once we were able to successfully, once we were successful with this melody, we increased the intervals, basically increasing the threshold to meet. And it sounded a little bit more natural, like this. How's it going? Everybody try that with me 3 times. Here we go. How's it going? 1, 2, here we go. How's it going? 1 more time. Here we go. How's it going? So we were able to see 2 months later, we were able to see this change in his pitch range. So, like I said over here, we had a difference of about 20 hertz. And then only 2 months later, a significant amount of time, but a small enough time to see a good amount of functional progress. We have about 50 hertz difference in our pitch range. So this is, I'll play again for you the back in November.
How's it going?
And then this is 2 months later.
How's it going?
So that's taking away all the musical stimulus. I literally just put the app in front of him and like, how's it going? Ready, go. And he's able to purposely change his pitch. So then I was like, well, that worked because we practiced that one. Like, that's great. You practice something, you get better at it. Then I was like, how is it going to transfer over into functional speech? So we've been practicing the one phrase, how's it going? And while his pitch range improved there, I wanted to test it out on another question. So our other question was, what's for dinner? So here is the recording of his what's for dinner. Oh, maybe.
How's it going?
Not that one. Next one.
What's for dinner?
So again, we get that purposeful inflection, and we weren't not even practicing that one. It just transferred over into functional speech. So that's an example of really like rewiring the neural pathways. It was also super cool for me to see. This is the first time I'd used this app like this, because I can hear changes all I want, but to actually be able to see that graph go from this to this is pretty cool. I'm amazed every day by my job. Okay, so many people get stuck in repetitive thoughts or movements if the neural pathway coding is too thick. That's that myelin. Myelin strengthens our neural pathways with repetition and muscle memory. So with music therapy, we can break out of behavioral loops that we are not that we are trying to break out of, thinking mainly with autism, by deliberately strengthening different neural pathways. So as a result, we gain more control over how we behave in social settings, which helps you participate at school or work. And then our self-esteem also improves when we see that behavior loops are caused by, brain writing and brain mapping, not by a lack of willpower. So the other good thing about music therapy and music in general is that it's very adaptable. It's very, it changes. A session is different with every single person. You're using different techniques based on their individualized goals. So it's just another thing to keep in mind. So with music therapy, we can also use aural cues to free trapped memories or reinforce new ones. Then you have new strategies to maintain your relationships, keep yourself safe, and feel more empowered. With musical mnemonic training, it's just like it sounds. We use mnemonics. That's nothing new. When you're in grade school, you learn things with music. That's something you don't have to be a music therapist to know that. How do we remember the alphabet? We have the ABC song, right? There's a mnemonic for everything. Music therapist just has that specialty where they can create songs to help you with recall. Maybe creating a song about like your morning routine before you leave the house, just to help with that sequence, and using mechanisms like chunking and repetition to circumvent damaged parts of the brain. So this example is going to sound it's just an example. It's going to sound a little silly, but I just want to play it for you guys.
When I leave the house, here's what I need. When I leave the house, here's what I need. I need my mask, phone, and keys. I can't remember all of these. When I leave the house, that's what I need.
So again, it sounds pretty silly. If you're happy, it's the tune of If You're Happy and You Know It. We generally try to pick age-appropriate things. That was just an example. But it is a great device for mnemonic because it's so predictable and repetitive, and everybody has heard it.
So can it help me find my keys?
I mean, maybe if you leave them in the same. No, that's what that new Apple thing is for. I'd like the little locators. Oh, I'll play it on here too. Okay, so one client that we've worked with to rewire the brain is an 8-year-old girl with Down syndrome. So when she came to us, if you were to ask her her name or address, she couldn't say it to you. And this wasn't a cognitive issue. She knew the information, but couldn't sustain the verbal output. And it's not only a huge frustration for her, but it's also a safety issue. She couldn't say anything to advocate for herself. We worked with her in strengthening the neural network. She needed to access her articulators and to string words together. And as a result, she learned to say her own name, her address, and her mom's phone number. So here's just a short clip. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but that's our old logo.
My name is Beth. I am is old. My name is Beth. And I is old. I like to play most. I need to play most.
I spent so long trying to figure out what she likes to play. It sounds to me like she's saying she likes to play elbows, but I wasn't the therapist working with her, so I'm not exactly sure. It's a pretty lengthy video, so I'm gonna skip ahead to this part.
I am 8. Old. I like to play elbows.
Elbows, I don't know.
To make music. I like to play breakfast. And that's last time.
So using those similar cues, I'm sure the song structure was a little bit different based off of what they were working on, whether it was, in this one, she's doing her name and how old she is, but they also use music as a mnemonic device to learn her address and her mom's phone number for safety reasons. So one piece of treating the whole brain, we were rewiring our neural pathways. We also have to compose the mind because from a clinical perspective, the brain and the mind are two different worlds. I don't know what this is. I couldn't get rid of it. So just a can of soda real quick. So this is not really much new. Humans have relied on music to bridge social gaps for forever. It's a universal language for everyone that everyone can understand and communicate through. And musicality is a universal aspect of being human. Our brains are literally designed to process and store music. Memories related to music are stored in our hippocampus. Our prefrontal cortex assists in expression and decision making in the music process. Then we even have the subcortical structures that are, the most basic structures of our brain that are involved in the emotional reactions to music, while the cerebellum literally internalizes basic rhythm processing. So it kind of happens with no conscious thought. And this is where the idea of entrainment comes in. So our brain is neurologically able to match a rhythm without us even thinking about it. My favorite example of this is when you're walking down a long hallway or in a grocery store and you hear the click, click, click of somebody else's heels or boots. It's click, 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 and all of a sudden you find yourself walking to that tempo. And that's that natural entrainment that our bodies are inherently rhythmic with our heartbeats and our breathing patterns and all this kind of stuff, our internal clocks. So we automatically entrain to a stimulus even if we're not paying attention to it. Another thing, music is captivating. It brings timing, grouping, and organization so that attention can be sustained. Music provides the additional dimension of emotion and motivation to facilitate concentration and really keep one on task. In these activities, we're looking for a qualitative musical response, although you don't need any musical background to participate. So speaking of, I understand that we all don't have drums laying around our homes or offices, but we're going to do a very simple musical attention control training. You're welcome to use your hands or pat your knees or drum on the table or whatever you have available to you. I'm simply going to play a rhythm and I want y'all to repeat after me. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Oh, I can. Wow, look at that. Okay, so I'm going to play a rhythm and y'all will just repeat it back. I'm just watching, I guess, because I can't hear anything. But it will go. Let's see, our first one goes. Good. So a lot basic attention, right? We're just listening for what we hear, depending on the client and their goals, adjusting how long or with what complexity we are doing different rhythms. It's really just hearing the difference in the music and responding to it. So I want to try one more example of this. And this is one where you're going to hear different musical stimulus. So let's see if we hear this one. Make this a little bit faster. So we are going to, let's see, why don't we try patting our knees for that one? So bum, 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 patting our knees, bum, 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 bum. And then when you hear this one, let's clap our hands. So clapping our hands. Clapping our hands. And then we're gonna go back to that. Back to patting our knees. Good. Everyone hear this one? Let's see, maybe we can shrug our shoulders. have different instruments where you have to have a qualitative response to what you're hearing, but it's basically just sustaining that attention. And other activities, other levels of this musical attention control training can increase with complexity and assist in other types of attention, such as alternating, selective, and divided. Like say we were doing that, and then when you heard a bell or a tambourine, you had to, I don't know, make a funny face or something, or play a different instrument, ideally. We've adapted for virtual, but it's not the same. All right. So another thing about music is that it is social. So I like to use our Singing with Parkinson's group as an example of this. We're using neurologic music therapy techniques to address symptoms of Parkinson's disease, such as rate of speech, prosody and inflection, articulation. But when we get feedback from the choir members, we get a lot of, this has helped my PD symptoms so much, but I also enjoy the social aspect of it. So that's the thing. I was in band all through middle school, high school, college, big band nerd. And my favorite thing about it, obviously I loved making music, but was all the friends I had through it and the social aspect of it. And that's another thing that makes music so motivating and engaging for everyone, is being able to make music with other people. Our Parkinson's choir is virtual right now, so I usually give them like 5 minutes to say hi to each other before everyone's muted, you know. But yeah, just the idea of, you know, building something together, it's very powerful, and you know, it's less isolating, especially nowadays. So what all this has in common is that we're composing the mind by building emotional structure. So music is motivating, it's social, and music therapy can help you rewire your brain and change your mindset. But now let's see how the body plays into treating the whole person in harmony. So we just have a little bit more of this one. So one common challenge that a lot of our clients face is that daily living tasks are physically difficult. So regardless of age or diagnosis, not being able to do what we were once able to do can be incredibly isolating and difficult. But with neurologic music therapy, we can use rhythm to synchronize the body by cueing the brain. Let's see. So sometimes the reason that you can't move a certain way is because your body has no awareness of the time frame it will take. Let's say you want to walk with a heel-toe step, heel-toe, heel-toe, or you want to be able to fully extend your arm. With techniques like patterned sensory enhancement, we can break each movement down into parts and map those parts to a rhythmic structure. And that's how we strengthen that brain-body connection. And after enough practice, we can remove the rhythmic cues and execute the movement on our own. And the key to this technique, PSE, is finding out the right stimulus and the structure for the movement, not with the music accompanying the movement, but with the music literally imitating the movement. So let's see, for example, if we are working on opening and closing a hand, whether it's we have to, you know, reach out, grab a cup of water, and then bring it up to take a sip. Maybe the first thing that we work on is literally opening and relaxing our hands. So open and relax, open and relax. And the thing that we would do is find your natural tempo. So I'm just gonna pick somebody that I'm watching doing this with me and find your tempo. So, and relax and open and relax. So the next thing that we would do is literally go through that. That was real fast. The first thing that we would do is cue with the movement. So we go open, relax, open, 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 and relax. Maybe we even have to hold our hands open for a certain amount of time. So we go open, 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 and relax. Open, 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 and relax. The next thing we would do is add the music imitating that motion. So it might sound like open, 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 and relax. Open, 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 and fading out me telling you what to do and letting the music do it. And then eventually fading out that melody and eventually fading out that rhythm. And we're actually able to imitate or complete that movement. Another good one is like weight shifting, like da da ding, da ding, da ding. It's really fun for us as therapists to like come up with this musical piece that imitates a movement. It's fun. I can't lie if I say I didn't have a fun, or I would be lying if I said I didn't have a fun job. So accurate motion also depends on our ability to track the body with the eyes. And we can target those muscles in therapy, but rote exercise can get very tedious. So something we do is playing instruments as exercise. So whether we can isolate our fingers on the piano, and that can translate over into playing on a keyboard. If we're isolating each digit, makes it easier to get back to work if we can type. Another instrument that I like to use is the guitar or the ukulele, especially if someone has had that experience before. It's motivating because it's something that they want to get back into, but it also still helps with the coordination of our muscles and our motor movements, and working on the fine motor. So that is our therapeutic instrumental music performance. They're all pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so I just want to go over a little bit of gait stuff real quick. This is just gonna play automatically. So neurologic music therapy really started with gait training. Our body immediately entrains to a rhythmic stimulus. And this is an example of one of our 17-year-old clients with autism. So here we're more working on his regulation rather than specifically his gait. But in autism, regulation goes hand in hand with gait. So I just wanted to show you the effect that rhythm can have on gait. So before, he's shuffling his feet, taking uneven strides, and walking from toe to heel instead of heel toe. So really at risk for tripping or falling. And this arrhythmic gait demonstrates that his sensory system is off kilter. So just so you can see his before, it's the toe heel that gets me. All right, let's walk this way. So irregular toe heel. This is the therapeutic intervention. So providing him that sensory input, giving him those external rhythmic cues. And giving him that proprioceptive and vestibular input as well. And then this is him afterwards. So we no longer have that toe heel, which is huge. I'm going to play both of them at the same time so you can really see the difference. So beginning is on the left and at the end is on the right. So we are, sorry, y'all. So the goal is to step on each bell and then right back in line in a straight line. So we see we're kind of missing that small target. And then this next one is for screaming. This next one is 4 sessions later. So we're able to hit that small target with the music cueing her to lift her leg up and step on the target. Wow, nice. So, in 4 weeks, getting that balance back on track, I was never able to try it without that physical support just for safety reasons, but just being able to do that with no other input from me was pretty awesome. So that's how we synchronize the body by cueing rhythmic movement. We use these NMT techniques to help people manage their daily tasks. And now we have the brain and mind and body all working in harmony. And I always like to end with this quote from basically the creator of neurologic music therapy. The brain that engages in music is changed by engaging in music. So no matter how it is, the brain is changed by engaging in music. So does anybody have any questions or comments? I feel like I talked a lot.